There are these two screens I can't stop thinking about, right? One of them, it's like a briefing room, cameras, microphones, a podium. And the narrative there, it's all about, binding AI oversight is imminent, like an executive order, compute thresholds, federal review before any frontier model gets released. The implied probability, based on just the sheer volume and tone of that conversation, sits around 60%.
Exactly, Marcus. And the other one, it's this order book, real money, real positions. This specific contract, AI Reg 26. Same question, same resolution window, same exact definitional language about named compute thresholds and binding pre-release review. And that contract, it closed yesterday at 0.42, like 0.42.
18 points, just in one direction. Capital, like really below narrative,
And it's not a glitch, right? The same engine that's pricing AI Reg 26 is currently pricing Fed June 25 at 0.68, which is 13 points above its narrative. Capital totally led the inflation conversation, and it's leading this one too. It's just in the opposite direction, which is wild.
So, the question has to be asked really carefully then, doesn't it? Either Capital's just totally wrong about AI regulation in a way it's not wrong about anything else right now.
Or the cameras are, they're pointing at the wrong building, Marcus. That's what I think.
Okay, so here's what we're doing today. By the time this episode ends, you're going to know the 3 watch signals that actually move AI Reg 26. You're going to know what the contract reads at 0.55 and at 0.30. And you're going to know, and this is the part the briefing room really isn't going to tell you, why those signals are measuring something that may already be over.
The regulators we keep waiting for, they're not the regulators in operation. The room where it happens isn't the one with the podium. Stay with us.
Let's be really precise about what AI Reg 26 actually resolves on. The contract pays out if a formal executive order issues with named compute thresholds, establishing binding pre-release review for frontier models within the resolution window, not voluntary commitments, not framework guidance, a binding gate. Government reviews the model, government approves or rejects the release. Private commercial activity gated by federal sign-off. Am I getting that right?
Absolutely. That's exactly the question on the table. And the structural problem, honestly, is that none of the 3 branches that would have to deliver that kind of gate are actually positioned to deliver it. Each branch's posture is, doctrinally consistent with what it's doing, but the combination, it just produces paralysis.
Okay, so start with Congress. What's going on there?
Well, the 119th hasn't enacted a comprehensive frontier model safety statute. There's no delegated rulemaking authority. There are no civil or criminal penalties on the books for a rogue release. That's not slow legislation, That's a positive choice not to legislate, because legislating creates electoral risk on a tech sector members really don't want to be seen slowing down. Congress has totally selected non-action as its dominant strategy.
Wow. Okay, so then the judiciary?
The judiciary, 2 cases totally govern this doctrinal landscape: West Virginia v. EPA in 2022 and Loper Bright Enterprises v. Raimondo in 2024, both authored by Chief Justice Roberts. They're huge.
And West Virginia, that established the major questions doctrine, right? Like a clear statement rule. What does that translate to?
Translation: when an executive agency wants to take an action of vast economic and political significance, it can't rely on creative interpretation of an old statute. It absolutely needs explicit congressional authorization. Gating a multi-billion-dollar commercial industry, that's the textbook case the doctrine was written to police. It's not subtle.
And Loper Bright, it just totally removed the cushion. For 40 years, Chevron deference required courts to defer to agency interpretations of ambiguous statutes. That's gone. Agencies no longer win the tiebreakers. So you have one doctrine that says they can't draw broadly without permission, and another that says they can't finesse the ambiguities.
Which leaves the executive branch in a very specific position then. Here's the analogy I think gets the mechanism right. Imagine an orchestra. The legislature is supposed to write the score. The judiciary verifies the music being played matches the score. The executive is the conductor, Without a score, the conductor can adjust tempo, cue dynamics, signal the brass, but the conductor can't suddenly decide to perform a different symphony. The orchestra just has no parts for it.
And what the public is asking for is a different symphony. What the executive can actually deliver is, well, an interpretation of silence. And that interpretation, for the most part, is federal procurement. OMB Director Russell Vaught has framework guidance authority, the OMB AI Memoranda Series, M-24-10 and M-24-18, continued under successor instruments after President Trump rescinded EO-14-110 with EO-14-179. The federal government is the largest single purchaser on Earth. It can set conditions on what it buys. It cannot set conditions on what private parties release to non-federal markets, and that's the kicker.
So stop right there. That word, delay, that you'd hear in the briefing room, regulation is delayed. That word is doing a lot of work it shouldn't be doing, isn't it? Delay implies regulation is coming and it's just slow. But what if the structure we just walked through doesn't produce delay? It produces completion. What if this is the finished state?
That's the move Capital made, Marcus. The order book isn't pricing a slow process. It's pricing a process whose output is what we already have. Hold that question. We're going to need it later.
Okay, so there's this Pew Research Center finding from early 2024 that gets cited in casual coverage, but almost never gets read for what it actually says. 23% of US adults reported using ChatGPT, up from 18% the year before. Industry adoption data through late 2025 has the curve bending sharper, not flatter. Consumer apps, productivity software, education, the diffusion is happening.
That's the usage frame. What's the second order effect there?
This is where I want to be careful, because there are two ways to read that statistic, and only one of them really holds up. The shallow read is, lots of people are using AI, so the regulatory question is therefore more urgent. The deeper read, though, is actually the opposite. 23% climbing is constituency formation. Every adult who integrates a generative AI tool into their daily routine becomes, at the margin, a voter who will not reward a senator who broke their workflow. It's that simple, but really profound.
That's a downstream electoral incentive change then. Walk me through the actual mechanism. How does that work?
The mechanism is cognitive infrastructure. There's a huge difference between a tool you use and a tool you think with. When a population starts thinking with a tool, drafting their emails, debugging their code, working through how to phrase a difficult conversation, the tool becomes substrate. It moves below the level law operates on. Law operates on behavior. You can regulate what people do. You cannot easily regulate what they think with. Not with the kind of political backlash that, honestly, ends careers. It's too integrated.
Project that forward then, 5 years, 10 years out.
If usage scales toward 50% of adults, and the curve definitely says it will, then the political base for binding pre-release review of AI is structurally bounded by the population that doesn't use the tools. That base shrinks every single quarter, Marcus. The political class will absolutely read this and price it. There is no electoral upside in being the senator who broke ChatGPT, you know?
And then there's the recursion piece on top of that, right? Every user interaction is training data for the next generation. Users rewrite outputs, accept or reject suggestions, correct errors. That feedback totally shapes the next iteration, which gets deployed into the same environment, which generates more feedback, which trains the next iteration after that. The optimization function is engagement and retention. The regulatory layer is not, in the optimization function at all.
So the recursion isn't just about model improvement. It's about constituency formation and cognitive infrastructure formation simultaneously on the same data. By the time legal architecture catches up to bind any of this, the political coalition that would support binding has just dissolved into the user base. The user base is not waiting for permission. The user base did not ask whether the recursion was approved.
Which means that really changes what the AI REG 26 contract is actually measuring, doesn't it?
It changes what every AI governance contract is measuring. They're measuring whether the old constraint mechanism can find its footing in time. They're not measuring whether AI is being regulated. AI is being regulated. The regulator just isn't named in the Constitution.
I really want to push on the framing and the analysis we've been working from. Two paths, Path A and Path B. Path A, a formal executive order issues with named compute thresholds, drawn narrowly enough to survive major question scrutiny. AI Reg 26 reprices to 0.85. Path B, the resolution window passes with framework documents only. AI Reg 26 reprices to 0.10. That framing is, it's too generous, I think.
Generous how, exactly?
It implies Path A is a real option. Even if the president signs an executive order with named compute thresholds tomorrow, that order's first stop is a federal courtroom, likely the Fifth Circuit or the D.C. Circuit. Under West Virginia v. EPA, the order gets enjoined. Major questions doctrine doesn't have to do hard work here. The doctrine is purpose-built for this kind of instrument. The market's 0.42 isn't pricing a binary fork. It's pricing a small probability tail of an instrument that wouldn't survive its own court date. Like, it's just not. It's a very different picture.
Okay, let me stillman Path A for a second, because I think there's a version of it that holds up. The executive order can be drawn narrowly, limited to federal procurement and federally funded research. Tie the named compute thresholds to compute used in federally funded context. Build in interagency coordination across OMB, OSTP, NIST, and Commerce. The Daily Report's own framing names 3 independent conditions for issuance: doctrinal survival, interagency coordination, and political willingness. Each of those is independently satisfiable. The 0.42 reflects the joint probability, not the impossibility of any one.
But a narrowly drawn order limited to federal procurement is the OMB procurement variable, Marcus. That's already exercised. We just walked through M24-10 and M24-18. Issuing it as an executive order isn't a new instrument. It's just announcing what's already operative under a different document type. The contract language is the tell: binding pre-release review for frontier models, not binding review for frontier models procured by federal agencies. The public expectation built into the 60% narrative is broader. Either the order is legally durable but operationally trivial because it's procurement under a different label, or operationally meaningful but legally vulnerable because it crosses the major questions line. The 0.42 is pricing exactly that bind. It's a tight spot.
So, Marcus, then 3 watch signals: the next OMB AI memorandum in the procurement series, the next congressional hearing on frontier AI safety in Senate Commerce or House Energy and Commerce, and the next published interagency communique from the U.S. AI Safety Institute that names compute thresholds at a technical level. AI Reg 26 crossing 0.55 confirms a Path A trajectory. Crossing 0.30 confirms Path B. But here's the actionable layer that's really not on most lists, right?
Right. The watch signal that actually matters is whether anyone in the executive branch is willing to be the named defendant in the next major questions case. Political willingness is the variable nobody is measuring directly, and it's critical. If no one steps forward, AI Reg 26 resolves toward Path B, not because the doctrine prevailed, but because nobody tested it. That's a different signal, and it's the one to actually watch. It's a big one, honestly.
Yeah, and here's what I really can't stop thinking about, Marilyn. The regulatory architecture being built around artificial intelligence right now, it's just not being built in Washington. It's being built in chat windows. It is being built every time a user accepts a suggestion, rewrites a draft, corrects an error, prompts again. The architecture isn't announced. It doesn't have a podium. Its objective function is engagement, and its training signal is your behavior, like our behavior.
Exactly. By the time the watch signals resolve, by the time AI Reg 26 settles one way or the other, the regulatory question may have already answered itself, not because anyone signed the order, but because the constituency for the old kind of regulation will have dissolved into the constituency for the new kind. The question we're trained to ask, when will the government regulate AI, it measures the wrong thing. The question that really holds is whether you've noticed who already is, and whether you've, made peace with their objective function.
So, watch the threshold, read the order book, the signature on the executive order. That's the breakpoint, right?
But the break may not be where most observers are looking, Marcus. Not at all.
Well, Marilyn, this has been an incredibly insightful discussion. Before we wrap up today's episode, I want to sincerely thank all of our viewers and listeners for joining us. If you found this conversation valuable, Please take a moment to like this video, leave us a comment with your thoughts, share it with your network, and of course, subscribe to help our network grow and ensure you don't miss future deep dives like this.
Indeed, Marcus. The takeaway is clear. The regulatory landscape for AI is far more dynamic and decentralized than the traditional narrative suggests. It's not about if, but how and by whom, and that is happening in real time.
And that distinction between the narrative and the reality is precisely what the Order Book has been telling us all along. It's a powerful reminder to look beyond the podium and truly understand the invisible forces at play shaping our future.
Exactly. The true regulators are already here, shaping the future of AI in ways most are only just beginning to grasp. It's a paradigm shift, and recognizing it is the critical first step.
A truly profound shift. Thank you, Marilyn, for breaking this down so expertly, and thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time.